Hello again, fans and friends, and welcome to another episode of PD's 4R. My name is PDW2KX, and today I want to talk about my favorite game of all time. This video has been a long time coming, and I'm choosing to do it now since two important things recently happened to me. One, PowerWash Simulator 2 will be launching in less than a week by the time I am done recording and editing this video. Two, I recently celebrated over 1,900 hours playing the original Power Wash Simulator. So let's do it. Let's talk about me and Power Wash. But first, I need to make something clear. I'm going to be talking openly, honestly, and frankly about my struggles with mental health. And I'll also be talking about how I feel about important mental health topics like therapy. So it's going to get real. It's going to get very real very quickly. This channel was founded on the idea that I'll never be afraid to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. And no matter what I talk about, I'll always keep it real. And this is probably the realest video I've ever done, and possibly will ever do. Pulling directly from the first page of the Writers and Content Creators Playbook, I'd like to begin this review by quoting myself. Here's some of what I wrote in an earlier text-only Steam review. The best accolade I can give a game is pretty different than what most people consider to be the benchmark of a good game. The biggest accolade I can give a game is the one I want to give Power Wash Simulator. Power Wash Simulator actively contributes to keeping me sane. Playing Power Wash improves my mental health. This game is a form of therapy for me. I can play this game with a podcast or a playlist of my favorite songs playing in the background, and I can feel the stress melt off of me. I get lost in the zen of cleaning, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've done full playthroughs, deleted all my saves, and then done full playthroughs again. I've taken breaks from the game, of course, but I always find myself coming back to Power Wash whenever I need to mentally reset, and especially whenever any new DLC came out. Here lately, as I've been doing my best to juggle trying to lose weight, trying to find time to be both a writer and a content creator, and trying to work two jobs to try and get myself back to financial stability as quickly as possible, I find myself playing Power Wash Simulator almost exclusively. I've still got quite the healthy backlog I try to spend at least a little time with more games coming out that I'm looking forward to, and I still try to find time to play League of Legends with my friends, despite all the issues I continue to have with that dog shit piece of trash abomination of a game. But now more than ever, I find myself not just wanting, but needing to go to my happy place at the end of a long day. And now more than ever, that happy place is defined by Power Wash Simulator. I'd like to take some time to talk through some common rebuttals I get when I mention why I play Power Wash and for how long I've played it. One of the most common talking points that comes up is this idea that Power Wash is really just a means to an end. It's not the game itself I'm enjoying. What I'm finding so fulfilling is actually the state of zen that this game allows my mind to enter. To which I say, yeah, you're not wrong. I am actually happy to admit that there are other options I have for entering that headspace. For the longest time, Minecraft was actually the game I used instead of Power Wash. Minecraft was the game that I'd play where I could turn on a podcast or my favorite CD, and then I'd blink and 5 hours would have gone by. I started my journey on YouTube as a Minecraft YouTuber many, many years ago. I will always love Minecraft. But Power Wash has, quite simply, stood the test of time as the one game that can always and will always put me in a good mood. And it's not just the fact that it allows me to clear my head, it's actually a good game. It's very simple, but there's a surprising amount of versatility, creativity, and nuance. it can be a very simple game with a very simple premise. Shit's dirty, go clean it. But how you approach that cleaning is where the game shines. How do you like to clean? Do you go step by step using the in game checklist until everything is done? Do you just go crazy flinging water and cleaning products everywhere and figure the rest out later? Do you tackle the difficult to reach places first? Or the big objects first? Or the smaller objects that just never seem to get fully clean no matter how many times you hose them down? And which stages do you like to play? Even during the linear career mode, several times you will have a few different options on what to clean next. So it's not just how do you like to clean, but what do you like to clean as well. And let's not forget all the DLC, including the loads and loads of completely free DLC the developers were kind enough to give us, in addition to all the paid DLC that was so much fun for me to go through. All the DLCs in PowerWash feel different. Running through the Tomb Raider DLC is a completely different experience than running through the Final Fantasy DLC, and both are completely different experiences from the Shrek DLC. There's so much content here, both free and paid, and all of it combines into an incredible amount of replay value, even if you're not using the game as a substitute for therapy. Which brings me to my next point, and the second big rebuttal I get when mentioning Power Wash. I've been told, both kindly and not so kindly, both politely and quite rudely, that if I really do use Power Wash as a way to clear my head and decompress mentally, I really should just invest in therapy instead. So let's talk about that. Here's the dirty little secret no one really wants to talk about because no one really wants to admit this. Therapy is expensive, and most therapy is only designed to get you through whatever current crisis you are going through. I am speaking from experience, and I will be sharing that experience. So brace yourselves for an open and honest discussion about mental health. So here it goes. More than once, I found myself in a situation that most people would call a mental health crisis. One time, when I was at my worst, one of my very close relatives once called the police on me because I was convinced that I was hearing voices. I was very stressed at the time, and I thought I quite literally had discovered the ability to talk to angels. I was working as an armed security guard at the time, and I did own my own firearm. So this relative was very afraid that I was either going to hurt myself or hurt other people. I look back on where I was back then, and honestly, all I feel is shame and regret. When the police showed up and I explained to them what was going on inside of my head, they put me into contact with a team called the Emergency Mental Crisis Unit. They were able to get me into a few free therapy sessions, and they helped me get a better understanding of what I was going through. Credit to them, they did give me the help I needed, but it's what came after that honestly opened my eyes to the reality of the mental health industry. Eventually, after about 3 therapy sessions, I had a pretty unpleasant conversation with a representative of the mental crisis unit. I was told point blank that I was making too much money and no longer qualified for the free care. Early on in the process, they attempted to get me some government assisted healthcare to try and figure out a way for me to get ongoing care. But apparently, I just didn't qualify for any type of subsidy and would need to pay out of pocket for any future costs. At the time, I was living paycheck to paycheck, barely able to afford rent despite living with multiple other people. And just in case you're wondering, the pay rate for an armed security guard in the city of Houston, Texas is a fucking joke. I made $13 an hour as an armed guard. And this was after having to buy my own firearm, duty belt, baton, handcuffs, basically everything you think a security guard would need to do their job. All of that came out of my own pocket. The company provided medical insurance could also accurately be described as a complete fucking joke. Ever since then, I've had a few additional interactions here and there, as I've continued to do my best to stay a productive and sane member of society. And these different situations have only reinforced my earlier feelings. So let me make this clear. There are systems in place designed to help you through a crisis. There is help available, and you should reach out. Please do not take these words as any sort of condemnation on the people that only want to help you and help you get better. But the reality of the situation, at least in my own experience and the experiences others have shared with me, the reality has been that the systems in place are designed to get you through a temporary crisis and are in no way set up to provide you with lasting care and support. Only therapy and medication can really do that. And therapy is expensive, and medication is expensive. But you know what's not expensive? Paying $25 one time for the base game and $8 a few different times for DLC for a game that I have played for almost 2,000 hours and I've never had a single bad experience with it. A few different times, for a few different games, I've used this descriptor. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's perfect for me. The original Kingdom Come Deliverance was a huge example of a game that may not have been perfect, but for me, it was everything I ever wanted in an open world, first person action RPG. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth may not be perfect, but for me, it was everything I ever wanted in a Japanese turn based RPG. In that same way, PowerWash Simulator may not be a perfect game, but it is the perfect game for me, and it is my favorite game of all time. Not because it's the most exciting game, or it tests my skills the most, or because all my friends play it, or because the storyline is so gripping and moving. It's because of how PowerWash makes me feel when I play it. I feel happy. I feel safe. I feel content. And I spend so, so very much of my life not feeling that way. And that's real. That's uncomfortably real. But that's me. That's my experience. And that is why I will love PowerWash forever. And I will forever be thankful that the developers put so much work into making this game such a meaningful experience for so many of us. And that's the review, fans and friends. It's been a long time coming, but there it finally is. I hope you enjoyed, and please remember to like and subscribe if you feel like liking and subscribing. I am PDW2KX. This has been PD's 4R, and I will see you in the next video. And I do hope you take care.